What's up, Grace Report? Happy Saturday. I have some bad news for you. I am not live. Unfortunately, I am going to be off dancing away underneath the cosmic equinox or something like that at Nocturnal Wonderland. So I won't be able to hang out with you guys, but I did prepare a little video for you guys to keep you occupied and staying spooky for your Saturday night. So don't fret. I have Ghost in the News, and then we're going to talk about the dark history of Chang and Eng. I'm not sure if any of you heard of them. They were the conjoined twins that were actually mentioned in the X-Files. So first thing off, how is everyone's Saturday going? Obviously, I'm going to be at Nocturnal, so I'm going to be enjoying the music and the atmosphere, and looking forward to seeing Lewis mix inside Nocturnal Wonderland on the Camp OG stage at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. But we are going to start off with 9 new horror movies releasing this week, including surprises and theatrical offerings by Bloody Disgusting. If I could get the video to come up, give me 1 second, guys. All right, so this is, as I was saying, not that picture. 9 new horror movies releasing this week, including surprises and theatrical offerings. We're going to pass by that picture. The horror genre is absolutely bursting at the seams with brand new releases this week, with several at-home premieres that we didn't expect until they suddenly fell into our laps. So let's just dive right in, shall we? Here's all the new horror releasing September 12th through September 17th, 2023. In case you were feeling a little spooky, I thought I would give you some movie ideas. A24's low-budget horror hit Talk to Me scared up $67 million at the box office, making the film one of A24's top horror hits to date. And the film just hit at-home digital yesterday. You could purchase the film on digital outlets now for $19.99. The brutal terror of Talk to Me unfolds when a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand. They become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Sophia Wilde, Miranda Otto, Alexandra Jensen, Joe Bird, Otis Janji, and Zoe Tarakis stars in the A24 horror hit. In her Sundance review for BD, Megan Navarro wrote, "Talk to Me delivers an intense, nightmarish horror movie that'll leave you breathless." Her review continued, "There's a refreshing ruthlessness to its cautionary tale that plays like a surge of adrenaline and makes for one hell of an introduction to Danny and Michael Philippou's brand of horror." I actually heard Talk to Me was pretty good, and I'm actually looking forward to it, so I cannot wait to watch it when I get a chance. Minus that cool picture, but I don't want YouTube to have a fret, so we're going to pass by it. I think it's cool, by the way. Sony Pictures International Productions and Amazon Prime Video joins forces with Alex de la Iglesia, The Day of the Beast, The Last Circus, Witching and Bitching on the feature film series The Fear Collection. The collection includes Alex de la Iglesia, Venecia Frenia, Wame Balagueros, who did Rec 2, Sleep Tight, Venus, and Paco Plaza's Rec Veronica La Abuela. And the entire 3-film collection just surprise released on VOD yesterday. You could digitally buy or rent the 3-film Fear Collection on VOD outlets, including Vudu, where you could find the films either bundled together or in one set or available individually. The Fear Collection includes Venecia Frenia, directed by Alex de la Iglesia. In Venecia Frenia, in nature, there is an indissoluble link between beauty and death. The human being indebted in his environment imitates what he observes. Like mosquitoes drawn to the brightest lighthouse, tourists are turning off the light in the most beautiful city on the planet. The agony of the past decades has sparked anger among Venetians. to stop the invasion. Some have organized unleashing their survival instincts. Our protagonists, a simple group of Spanish tourists, traveled to Venice with the intentions of having fun, oblivious to the problems that surround them. There, they will be forced to fight to save their own lives. Venus, Juan Balaguero. Venus, inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's Dreams in the Witch House, and stars Esther Exposito, Angela Cremonte, Magu Mira, and Fernando Valdeveso, and Federico Aguado. In the film, go-go dancer Lucia, on the run with a stash of pills and haunted by monsters, takes sanctuary in an apartment block with sister Rocio and niece Alba, only to find out that malevolent supernatural forces are in play in the building. Megan wrote in her TIFF review of BD, Venus makes for a sick and breezy action horror movie far from memorable for its gruesome high-octane thrills than its cosmic chills. La Abuela, directed by Paco Plaza. Susana Almudena Amor must leave her life working as a model in Paris and return home to Madrid after she learns that her grandmother, Pilar Vera Valadez, who raised her as her own after her parents died, has had a cerebral hemorrhage. Upon returning home, Susana attempts to find a long-term caretaker for Pilar, but what should be just a few days ends up becoming a genuine nightmare after Susana notices Pilar starts to act strangely. This one actually sounds, and actually all three of them sound amazing. So I will definitely check those out. 5 Latino filmmakers have come together for the upcoming horror anthology Satanic Hispanic, which dread and iconic events released in select theaters on Thursday. Hilarious. I saw the poster when I went to the Nun 2 screening for this film. And I kind of was like, okay. The filmmakers, you ask. The list includes Mike Mendez, Big Ass Spider, Alejandro Brugues, Juan of the Dead, Gigi Salguero, Culture Shock, Eduardo Sanchez, The Blair Witch Project, and Demian Rugna, Terrified, which makes all for a killer horror anthology lineup. This movie is very special for us, says Brugues. The first all-Latino horror anthology made by some of the best horror directors representing us from all corners of Latin America and focuses on telling our story. We couldn't be happier having iconic events joining us and unleashing our Latino mayhem on you during Hispanic Heritage Month. In the film, police raid a house in El Paso full of dead Latinos and with only one survivor, the traveler. When the cops take him to the station for questioning, he tells them about the horrors he's encountered in his long time on Earth. Efren Ramirez, Greg Grunberg, Jonah Ray Rodriguez, Jacob Vargas, Hemke Madera. Oh, Hemke Madera, I know him. And Patricia Velquez stars in Satanic Hispanics. Oh, that's you know what? The name sounds crazy, but after reading that kind of sounds interesting. I do want to see that. I mean, I like horror movies. I even like the cheesy ones. So I'm up for it. Iconic character Hercule Poirot hits the high seas for a terrifying horror adventure in A Haunting in Venice, a supernatural horror movie from Oscar-winning filmmaker Kenneth Branagh, Belfast, that adapts Agatha Christie's novel Halloween Party. A Haunting in Venice will open in theaters nationwide on Friday, September 15th. This is the first horror movie from Branagh since Mary Shelley Frankenstein back in 1994, grafting spooky skin onto his critically acclaimed tales of Hercule Poirot. You know horror is hot when Oscar-winning filmmakers are making horror movies, and it's always exciting to see non-horror franchises dipping their toes into the genre like this. Who wouldn't want to make a horror movie? It's like the funnest thing ever. Come on. Featuring a screenplay by Oscar nominee Michael Green, Logan, A Haunting in Venice was filmed in Pinewood Studios outside London and on location in Venice. A brilliant acting ensemble portraying a cast of unforgettable characters will be featured, including Kenneth Branagh, Kylie Allen, Camelia Cotton, Jamie Dornan, Tina Fey, Jude Hill, Ali Khan, Emma Lard, Kelly Riley, Ricardo Scamarico, and Michelle Yeoh. Set in eerie post-World War II Venice on All Hallows Eve, A Haunting in Venice is a terrifying mystery featuring the return of the celebrated sleuth, Hercule Poirot. Now retired and living in self-imposed exile in the world's most glamorous city, Poirot reluctantly attends a seance at a decaying haunted palazzo. When one of the guests is murdered, the detective is thrust into a sinister world of shadows and secrets. So, guys, which one of those films are you excited to see? I'm actually, all of them actually sound pretty good. So I will check them out. I kind of really want to see Abuela. I don't know why. I do like Latin American horror. So I'm not sure. Didn't mention if it was actually in Spanish or English, but I don't mind because I've seen a few uh Spanish horror films that I absolutely adore. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. And I really do want to see Talk to Me, like I was saying earlier. I heard it was good. So and I also want to see Voyage of the Dementor, and I saw that was on VOD as well. So one of these days when I get a chance, I am definitely checking them out. So on to Google in the news, where I Google ghost. Oh, ghost in the news. Sorry, guys. Ghost in the news, where I Google ghost in the news and see what pops up. And apparently, Brandon, Texas leads the nation in ghost sightings. So, Brandon, you live in a state that leads the nation in ghost sightings, new study says, and this is from Crone. The study also ranked El Paso as one of the most haunted cities in the country. The spookiest season of the year is nearly here, and Texas is apparently the best place to be. A study by Treetopia listed Texas as the most haunted state in the nation based on its total number of ghost sightings, which sits at 7,315 recorded. The ranking uses paranormal data from Ghost Sightings of America and the Shadowlands Haunted Places, which lists paranormal encounters that have been reported throughout the U.S. Between the spirits of the Alamo soldiers and the mysterious Marfa lights, it's no surprise that Texas wins out as the spookiest state, Treetopia states. California, home of the infamous Roosevelt Hotel, came in second in the ranking with 6,888 recorded ghost sightings, followed by Ohio, 2,883, Michigan, 2,671, and Illinois, 2,496. El Paso came out on top as the most haunted city in all states with 192 overall recorded ghost sightings. It was closely followed by Fort Knox, Kentucky, 87, Bakersfield, California, 85, and Fort Benning, Georgia, 68. The West Texas city is home to both the DeSoto Hotel, which is known to house spirits in the basement, and the Concordia Cemetery, where dozens of shadowy figures have been caught on camera rolls throughout the years. So, what did you think of that article? Well, apparently the state I live in is number 2, so I shouldn't have any problems finding haunted locations, which I haven't. I know there's a few near me. I just haven't had a chance because I do work a 9 to 5 that takes a lot of my time, but I do have a goal to go full time on YouTube in 2024 so that I could bring you more content and bring you spooky more days out of the week instead of just the 2. But for now, this will have to suffice. Also, as we continue with Ghost in the news, I found this little article about 8 Ouija board stories that will make you throw yours in the trash immediately, even though I've read somewhere where they say don't burn it. Don't burn the board. But then I feel like even if you throw it in the trash after using it, it'll come back to the place you last used it. Because I remember Daniel had a story. Daniel Miles had a story that he said he used one and he left, if I'm not mistaken, he threw it in the car. And then when they went back to the place that they had used it, it was there. So I don't suggest doing any of that. But here are some stories to keep you occupied. Ouija boards, and this is from Red Book. Ouija boards have captivated people for decades because of the game's claim to be in cahoots with the beyond. Though plenty of people have witnessed nothing but their friends moving the planchette around themselves, others says playing with a Ouija board is like playing with some seriously unwieldy fire. You never know when shit's gonna get out of control. Below, 8 spooky tales that might put you off the mystifying oracle forever. Number 1, I could see you through the window. I was about 12 or 13, spending a night at a friend's house, goofing around with the Ouija board with him and his sister. We were getting all sorts of gibberish plus words spelled out, just kind of scaring ourselves for fun, not taking it very seriously. Then we got the message, I can see you through the window, and then I could see you through his eyes or something like that. There was just a small window in the basement room where we were, and just the backyard and woods past the driveway, visible through the window. We asked it more questions and it said, I'm under the car. So we somehow got up the nerve to go out with a flashlight and peer under the car where we saw a huge black stray cat hissing. We ran inside freaking out, and at that exact moment the power failed and all the lights in the house went out. We just about actually shit ourselves. A few minutes later, the power came back and we sat up until dawn, and that night scared and never played with the board again. Number 2, a mysterious death. My 2 best friends, M and L for the story, and I played the Ouija board at M's house. It was going fine until M asked the spirit how it had died, and it said murder. She asked how it had been murdered, and it said, not I. It gave its name as something older than I can no longer remember and gave us a date in the 1800s. It started to get heavy. The whole room felt different, and the little things on the board was ripped out of our hands and went across the room. We stopped playing immediately after that. M's mom died of cancer a week later, very suddenly. Nobody knew. Probably a quinky dink. But Elle's mom was hospitalized for a serious drinking problem not long after that, and then mine had an emergency hysterectomy the same week. I had since then experienced things that I don't think I would have without this experience. Voices, a dark shadow, footsteps. I wonder if I'm haunted sometimes still, and it's been 9 years. Number 3, our good friend Roger. I was over at a friend's house back in the early 90s. I believe I was in ninth grade at the time. There were 4 of us, myself and 3 other girls. They kept asking me if I wanted to play with the Ouija board because they've been talking to some dude on it named Roger. I was totally skeptical at first. I wasn't buying it. Totally, though, they were moving the planchette until I asked the board a question that only I knew. We had just got our grades from school back that day, and I asked it what I got in science. I remember this clearly, and I know my friends did not know the answer. The board spelled out my grade. Of course, that piqued my interest, so I started asking it more questions. I can't really recall the details of that night other than the board kept calling one of my friends a bitch. It hated her. It liked me. His name was Roger, and he was stabbed to death. At one point, I was the only one controlling the board and asking questions. It worked. The freakiest thing that ever happened to me. I'm not super spiritual, have never seen anything else paranormal related, and feel that I'm a very rational person. And I know is something supernatural. All I know is something supernatural was controlling the board without a doubt. I was going to say, that's not 8. What? They gypped us. It says 8 on the article. And that's the end of the article. So where are the other 5? They gypped us. What? Well, anyways, what did you guys think of those stories, and which one was your favorite? I kind of like the one with I could see you through the window. That was creepy, and they actually went to look underneath the car and there was a cat there. That one I felt was creepy. All right, guys, we've got another one. There were a lot of articles and ghosts in the news this week because a lot of places are starting their ghost hunting tours. I know there's one here in Whittier, but they're sold out. There's also one that goes through Chinatown. I would love to do one of those, so I made check them out. And they actually, some of them actually give you ghost hunting equipment to use while you're doing the tours. So I kind of actually want to do one of those. But do you have one in an area that by you? Comment below. I feel like we got gypped on the Ouija board because it said 8 and we only got 3. I'm still kind of upset about that. Like, come on. Really? And again, guys, I should read the articles before I share with you, but I like to have a reaction just like first time reaction when I'm reading it to you guys. So I know I do read some of them. I skim through them a bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty much reading them when and listening to them as you're listening to them. So we got this fun little brain teaser. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. This was on Fox News, and I thought this was kind of cool just for fun. Brain teaser, can you find the 3 ghosts hidden among the pandas? See how quickly you can solve the Halloween theme puzzle. A graphic artist is testing everyone's attention to detail with a digital seek and find brain teaser that may get you in the Halloween spirit. Gurgly Dudas of Budapest, Hungary, shared a holiday visual puzzle with Fox News Digital that featured 3 hidden ghosts among a group of pandas. The beautiful cartoon is filled with furry black and white pandas who appear to be in the Halloween spirit. Among the pandas are 3 hidden ghosts. Some of the pandas are shown Halloween pride with jack-o'-lanterns, and one is adorned with a witch's hat. Dudas posted this Halloween-inspired seek and find on social media last October. On Facebook, the artist's ghoulish puzzle has generated over 1,600 reactions, 146 comments, and 398 shares at the time of the publication. This puzzle has received 2,181 likes on Instagram. Oh my gosh, found all 3 in less than a minute. That's a record time for me, one Facebook user claimed. So what we're going to do, don't worry, I will show you because you can't really see it in that article. So I'm going to show you the actual Facebook post so you guys can see it. It's pretty easy, but I thought it was kind of cool because I'm obsessed with ghosts and skeletons, if you haven't noticed. So I thought, oh my god, this would be so cool. Let me get to it. So here is the picture. Can you guys spot the 3 ghosts? And I know I did, but I'll leave it up for a few minutes just to give you guys some time to look at it. And there are cute little pandas, some with witches' hats, some holding pumpkins. They are so cute. And if you look closely, you will find the 3 ghosts. And I will give you guys a minute to look before I stop. So how quickly was it for you guys to find the ghosts? Let me know. It was easy for me. I found them right away. Took me a while for the 3rd one until I kind of was like from the original, like when I looked at this particular picture I was able to find it, but the other one I wasn't because it was smaller. So, were you guys able to find the ghosts? Let me know. And I'll leave it up for a few more seconds before we head into the dark history of Chang and Eng. If you are not familiar with them, they are the original Siamese twins. The only reason why I know about them because Mulder, I think it was Mulder, happened to mention it in one of the episodes. And just out of nowhere, one of the articles popped up. So I took that as a sign. All right, guys, let me know if you found the ghosts. This is weird because it is a pre-recording again, guys, and I feel weird because I don't have you guys to bounce off. And believe me, I'm gonna miss you guys. I always look forward to Saturdays with the Wolf Pack. So we are gonna get into the dark history of Chang and Eng. And this one's from the Guinness Book of World Records. Oops. Ha! It's like Nocturnal Wonderland on sale now. It's just funny because that's where I'm going this weekend. I you gotta love ads. They kind of know. It's like Big Brother is always watching. This one is the dark history of the original Siamese twins, Chang and Eng Bunker. This is Chang and Eng Bunker. In 1811, conjoined twin brothers Chang and Eng Bunker were born in Siam, now Thailand. They were joined at the sternum by a short, flexible band of flesh and cartilage through which their lives were connected. Although they weren't the first conjoined twins in history, their eventual fame in America would lead the term Siamese twins to become synonymous with conjoined twins. The Bunker twins remained inseparable throughout their entire lives, but that didn't stop them from marrying and having children. In fact, they had a total of 21 children between them, setting a record for the most children born to unseparated twins. Oh my God, 21! Woo! And then you have to imagine too, they're conjoined twins, so their wives had to be in the same house together. Just imagine that. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. I don't know, ladies, comment below. Could you imagine, like, you're not technically sharing your husband, but sharing your house with another woman? I don't know. I feel like that would cause a lot of problems. After a while, it would. However, their biological offsprings weren't the only children under their care. Chang and Eng were Confederate slaveholders and owned several child slaves. I'm so glad that was abolished way back then, because I felt like that was just wrong how people were treated, but it is part of our history, and it's something I feel like we should learn and see how far society has come since then. Read on to learn the dark history of the original Siamese twins. So this is Chang and Eng, if you guys aren't familiar. Original Siamese twins, and obviously back then when they were born, there's no way they could have been separated because there's no medical technology like there is now. But even so, I'm not even sure. It said by the sternum, but we don't know if there were organs that they shared or veins or anything like that. So especially back when they were alive, there was no way you could have separated them. Chang and Eng were discovered in 1824 by a Scottish businessman named Robert Hunter. Sensing their money-making potential, he convinced the twins to come to America, although rumors later circulated that the twins' mother sold them to Hunter, which sucks. It took Hunter 5 years to get the twins out of Siam, as the king reportedly forbade them from leaving the country. Chang and Eng eventually arrived in America in 1829 at the age of 17. The twins made a name, a small fortune for themselves by touring in America. Their early shows saw them performing physical feats such as somersaults and swimming. However, after touring the British Isles, learning to speak English, and then getting out of their original contract, Chang and Eng took control of their act. They hired their own staff and began to engage audiences in a more formal parlor setting where they talked and answered questions. So this is kind of cool. I like seeing old flyers from like shows that they used to have back then. The Bunker twins eventually settled in North Carolina and gained American citizenship, which they enjoyed the full benefits of. Over 15 years after allegedly being sold into slavery by their mother, Chang and Eng bought their own slave plantation. They married sisters Adelaide and Sarah Yates, setting up two separate houses. Okay, so that's what they did. They did two separate houses, but still, imagine like them doing the deed. I mean, I obviously, there's yeah, but still, like one of the twins has to like be like this. Well, I couldn't imagine, but I guess they made it work. I couldn't imagine myself. No, and they had two separate houses, so that's how they avoided the conflict between the two wives, which makes sense. They would spend 3 days at a time in each of their homes. Between them, the twins fathered 21 children. Chang and Adeline had 10, whilst Eng and Sarah had 11. Whew, that's a lot of children. Ladies, could you imagine having that many children? Oh my gosh. With Chang and Eng, it was never really documented how they conducted themselves in an intimate way. But it is interesting to note that when the wives had their children, they delivered only maybe 4 or 5 days apart, which suggests some kind of coordination. TMI, guys, TMI. I didn't want to know that, even though I mentioned it, but I didn't want to know that. But this is Chang and Eng with their wives, and you could. I love those old pictures because no one ever smiled. Like you could tell, like she was in a bad mood. No one smiled. They're just like, "Come on, guys, smile." In 1850, over half of the Bunker twins slaves. This is where I'm like, we're under the age of 7. Like, why? These children would either grow up to be sold for profit or they would work the plantation fields. Although the press describes the twins' treatments of their slaves as harsh, Chang and Eng rejected these accusations. The Bunker twins' ownership of slaves, in addition to the support of the Confederacy during the Civil War, is a sordid stain on their lives. Unsurprisingly, it negatively affected the way their audience viewed them when they returned to touring after the war. The twins persisted nonetheless, mostly due to financial necessity after losing their slaves, and presented themselves as a poor old men with huge families to support. They also tried their luck in Europe, making trips to Britain, Germany, and Russia. In his late 50s, Chang suffered a stroke. It didn't kill him, but it did leave him severely debilitated, requiring Eng to help him with most daily tasks. With this, the Conjoined twins' career was over. On January 1874, at the age of 62, Chang died in his sleep. Upon waking up to find his brother dead, Eng realized he too would soon pass away, and reportedly did so 2 hours later. Their final autopsy reported that Chang most likely died from a blood clot in his brain, whilst Eng's cause of death remained unclear. A prevailing theory is that Eng died of shock, although alternative theories propose that he died of blood loss due to the failure of the twins' connected circulatory system. Or you have to think of this: if you saw like your brother passed away and you were connected to him, wouldn't that like scare the crap out of you too? Like, you already know what's coming to you, so wouldn't that like, I get with the shock too, but wouldn't that just scare the bejesus out of you, and you would have like a, yeah, that would scare me. The Bunker twins held the record of oldest conjoined twins ever until it was broken by Ronnie and Donnie Galen, who lived to be 68. With modern medical technology, Chang and Eng could most likely have been easily separated. However, back in the 19th century, the procedure would have been fatal. Thus, most doctors advised the twins against surgery. Though, even if it was possible, the twins never actually expressed any desire to be separated. They were born that way. They were used to it, and they were able to function and have a normal life without being separated. Craig Glendale Day, Guinness World Records editor-in-chief. Today, Chang and Eng have thousands of descendants. Every May, their extended family gathers together to commemorate the legacy of their famous great-great-grandfathers. And this is a family photo. 21 children, guys. 21. Wow. I couldn't fathom having that many children. That is crazy. So, guys, what did you think of that article? They are an interesting story. That for sure. And like I was saying, I couldn't imagine waking up and seeing half of me had passed away. That he probably had he was probably scared. Like just knowing he's like, "Oh my gosh, I know I'm next." So like how do you think that played in his brain? That is just crazy. Super crazy. Super crazy. Do you guys have any questions or comments for me? Comment below. This is a little weird because I usually go off of you guys. And again, I miss you guys. Grateful greatly. And thank you guys for making me laugh the other day on Telegram. And if you didn't know, I do have a Telegram, which I will share with you in a moment here. If you would like to join, I wish I wonder if I could can I put links on here to show you guys? I don't know if I can. Let's see. We'll try. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. No, I can't. Well, anyways, I'll share the page and then maybe hopefully it is on my you know what? I'll share my link tree. I have all my links on my link tree, so I do have a link tree where I have all my links. So if you guys would like to purchase, it's here's the link up here. I do have merch if you guys would like to support the channel and check out my merch page. I do have a Telegram, I have a Discord, a Facebook group. So whichever one that you guys use the most, please join because I do notify you when I have a video coming up because YouTube can be pesky and sometimes not give you notifications. So hence why I have many places. So if Telegram is the one for you, I do have a Telegram, and just to be warned, we do go crazy on there. And you guys just, I came home from work the other day and you guys just brought the biggest smile on my face. So guys, if you want some cheering up, definitely join the Telegram. You'll be laughing your ass off like I was the other day. I do have merch if you guys want to take a gander. I'll share that too here. Might as well. I do have a merch store. If you guys would like to buy merch, and this is just another way you can support me. Because I do, like I was saying, I do have a goal of going full time on YouTube. But here is my merch store. If you do see anything you like, please take a gander. Just to share some of my links that I have. And I do have a Facebook group. Because if you are more of a Facebook person than a Telegram or Discord, I do have a Facebook. I can't even talk right now. I do have a Facebook group. Oh my God, where is it? If you guys would like to join, and this is where, if you guys have a link or video that you want to show, you could post it there. I also post when I do have new videos because, again, like I was saying earlier, YouTube can be pesky and sometimes you guys don't get your notifications. So join one of those and you will always get a notification with no problems. Also, too, if you have a spooky story, which I forgot, I got a UFO story that I can share. Give me 1 second. I forgot I did. If you guys have a spooky story or even a UFO story, I don't mind UFO stories, please email graysonreport 13 at gmail.com. Again, that's graysonreport at gmail 13 at gmail.com. And please send me your spooky stories. I do love spooky stories. I do like reading them, and I will read them on my next video. So guys, just let me know. If you don't want me to read it, let me know too as well. But I will share it on my next video. So again, that email is graysonreport13 at gmail.com. And I did receive one. It's super long. This is from Arkansas Transparency, and it's spooky real UFO stories. Starts off with, I live in Phillips County, Arkansas, around the Lakeview area. It has endless history throughout the country, but there's not a single mention of UFOs. I have a habit of wandering around in the middle of nowhere. I feel a lot better when I'm walking through the forest and out enjoying nature, where nobody's going to be bothering me. I'm actually pretty sick, but I force myself to go outside and do something almost every day I'm able to, even though I feel terrible. If it's my last day, I want to go have fun, take pictures of cool stuff, and see the sunset. UFO encounters. These are stories from my current UFO house, not my creepy haunted abandoned ghost house on my farm property. I'll try to give you a lot of really accurate details. This day was the same as always, a normal, ordinary, dusty day. I was out wandering around the fields and exploring the local forest with my dogs, taking pictures of trees, clouds, and moss, etc. I walked back home and made it back around dark, which is normal. I put my camera on the charger, drank some water, gave my dogs fresh water, and then I climbed up my ladder onto my house roof. I crawled to my favorite spot and got comfy. It was a nice fall type of night, and there weren't any mosquitoes. It was completely clear with zero clouds anywhere. The stars were shining bright. Backstory. I used to climb on my roof and stargaze all the time back then. Whatever day the mosquitoes didn't tear me up, I would watch the stars for many hours until I was ready for a shower and go to sleep. I couldn't watch cable satellite TV for most of my life because I've always been super poor, so stargazing was pretty entertaining. My dogs were happily sleeping at the bottom of my ladder like usual. I was stargazing for several hours that night. Then I started seeing this blue light shining on my trees in my front yard. It looked exactly like a vehicle, bright blue halogen, like a vehicle's bright blue halogen headlights were shining the top of my trees from across the field. But it was coming from behind my house, and the light was only shining the top of the trees. On the rest of the trees below that, the trees were still in darkness. There aren't anything behind my house but fields, and no farmer is going to be working in the fields after midnight. Plus, there was no noise. During the night, it's like an echo chamber outside, and noise is amplified because of the positioning of the nearby woods, patches, and a large section of field in between the woods and my house's location. Meaning, I could literally hear everything going on in the area very loud and clearly. I was wondering where the light was coming from, but I didn't even really care because I saw the same light the night before. It was shining on my trees, but went away after a short while. I figured a car must have somehow been shining their headlights across the field from the main road again from a few miles away. This time, the blue light stayed quite a while. The light was moving back and forth. It was as if the object that was shining the light was actually moving around, and as it moved around, it was shining new spots on the trees around the branches. All of a sudden, the blue light started racing down the trees, lighting up the middle of the trees too. Then the blue light shined all the way to the ground and started lighting up my whole front yard in blue lights. And the whole front side of my house's roofs lit up with a bright blue light. I instantly thought, did somebody drive through the field into my backyard right up to the back of my house with a huge silent tractor with blue headlights on the top of it? I got goosebumps all over, and I turned around quickly and instantly pulled my pocket knife. I looked up and saw two glowing, luminous blue orbs. Both were about 15 feet in diameter, barely 5 feet apart from each other, silently hovering above the upper part of backside of my house roof right in front of me. I don't know why, but I was instantly relieved that it wasn't creepy humans sneaking up on me. I folded my knife back up and slid it into my pocket. I didn't feel threatened at all. I was staring up at them for a minute and they weren't doing anything. They were completely motionless and silent. I wasn't sure if they were even knew I was there, so I slowly crawled up to the top of my roof ridge to see them better. They still didn't move. I crawled to the top of my roof and I was laying on my belly. I raised up to see them better while I grasped my roof shingles really hard with my fingers. I was watching them closely, then when I raised up, they both simultaneously opened a hole in their orbs. At the lower right midsection of both orbs, the hole was about 10 inches in diameter, a perfect circle. A second after that, a crystal clear white light started shining out of their newly opened holes. I instinctively put my hand up to block the bright, clear light, but by that time I raised my hand, the light was already shining in my eyes, and the light didn't even blind me at all. So I lowered my hand back down and I grabbed a hold of the shingles tightly again. When the orb started shining the clear light, it illuminated everything in the air that it was shining. I could see every single particles of dust in the air. I couldn't see any dust before. There was a massive amount of dust particles in the air. They were moving the light around in a scanning type of motion, shining the light directly at me. It was like the light went right through me. It was so bright it shined directly through my hand, just like they were trying to see what's on the inside of me, kind of like an x-ray. Example, you shine a bright flashlight in your fingers in the dark and you can see right through them. Then after they finished scanning me, they both simultaneously shut off both of their lights, and then they both simultaneously shut their light hole and sealed the hole off. It was completely gone. They stayed hovering there, motionless and completely silent. The blue material that the orb is covered with started glowing around my body, and I was flung up into the orb. I didn't see much inside of it. It was dark. I was laying on my belly on the floor the whole time. I had closed my eyes, and when I opened them, and I was placed back on my house roof in the exact same spot I was laying. I raised up again, and I was staring at them hard. I looked back and forth at both of them good. Then a few moments later, they both simultaneously flew away. They flew together side by side. They accelerated simultaneously at their maximum speed instantly, and they stayed the exact same distance between each other the whole time. In less than 3 seconds, these two luminous blue orbs flew from the top of my house straight into space. There were two blue streak lines that appeared in the air behind them as they flew away. The particle trails vaporized in basically 2 seconds or less. The two blue streaks disappeared very quickly. They never turned off a course at all. They went in a straight line directly towards space. I would have seen it if they had turned. They went so far into space I couldn't see them anymore. I quickly crawled away over to my ladder. I scrambled down my ladder and ran into the house with my dogs. These UFOs were silent the entire time. They hovered in place right next to each other, about 5 feet apart, and they stayed the same distance between each other the entire time. I didn't see them turn around to fly away in the opposite direction, especially since they were just pointed toward me. The glowing orbs were smooth and flawless and didn't show any sign of movement. They were able to fly their maximum speed instantly. They were able to communicate with each other and sync their flight paths destination. They sync their angle of takeoff, sync their speed, sync their distance they wanted to stay between each other, and sync the exact time they were going to fly away. That is extremely advanced technology and superior, perfectly timed coordination. My own experience is one of the few real UFO cases that can actually help prove that these UFO propulsion technologies don't actually affect the environment around it when it's being used, because they both fly directly away from me and I was less than 15 feet from them. I was in the direct path of both these craft's propulsion blowback because I was right under them, very close, but I wasn't blown away and my house wasn't destroyed either. Any normal propulsion method, something going a gazillion miles per hour, that's 80,000 miles in 3 seconds, would have definitely turned me into a red mist in the air, and my house would have absolutely been turned into fine sawdust and tiny plastic shards. My house didn't shake at all, and I didn't even blink when they flew away. They flew away extremely fast and didn't make any sound and didn't create any wind, etc. My encounters can definitely help prove what real UFOs can do, especially because seeing multiple UFOs do the same thing creates a baseline of their abilities. If one UFO can do something and the other UFOs can also do the same exact thing, it helps shows it's not random. It shows they are all created the exact same and have the same abilities and technology. And I have extremely accurate measurements because one of the orbs were positioned perfectly with the edge of my house roof. It stretched from the edge of my roof across to my chimney pipe. My chimney pipe is at the edge of my living room, and my living room is 15 foot wide, wall to wall. Both orbs were the exact same size and shape, approximately 15 feet in diameter. Their orbs were the shape of a shade of a sky blue color, a nice lighter shade of blue. Also, More scientific data is from my dogs. My dogs were at the bottom of the ladder the entire time, and they didn't hear anything weird. They never got up and they never barked. It helps prove that UFOs are completely silent because my dogs bark at everything. Backstory: I had several fully grown, tall, healthy pine trees in my yard. The biggest pine tree was right beside my house. When those two advanced spacecraft accelerated and flew into space, they didn't affect my pine trees either. My biggest pine tree was right beside my house, and it didn't get blown over by the propulsion method's force. It didn't lose a single pine needle. It's more proof that their propulsion method doesn't produce anything behind it. That pine tree should have also been turned into fine sawdust. They were extremely close to it too, but it stood tall and unfazed. It remained bright green and thrived. All my pine trees thrived and grew thick, but 2 years later, in about the middle of July, they all simultaneously got sick and turned brown. All my pine trees quickly lost all their bright green colors, their sappy green needles turned brown and fell off the branches. They stood for a year like that until one night a massive windstorm blew through the area. The top branch of the pine trees that's right beside my house snapped off in the gale force winds. The big branch broke off at a sharp angle and fell directly onto my roof. The end of the branch speared right through the shingles and the 2x10 boards on my roof and made a big hole. That was a much better outcome than it could have gone because my utility electric cable line is right in between my house and that pine tree. It could have easily fell and snapped that wire. After that happened, I decided I needed to make the tree safer. I wanted to cut all the limbs off, but I didn't even have a handsaw, and the tree was really tall. So I got 200 feet of rope that was laying around the yard and found a broken brick that was in the field behind my house. I tied the rope around the broken brick and started throwing it high in the pine tree. It took over a week straight, but I finally snapped every single branch off the pine tree. It was extremely difficult because the branches were still in perfect condition and extremely flexible. They could bend wide and not snap. It took a lot of pulling and leverage to break them off. It was exactly like wrestling an alligator caught on fishing rope line. I pulled the rope hard this way, and the branches flung me back in the opposite direction because I wasn't strong enough. While I was snapping all the branches off, I actually saved all the top branches that were closest to my house and that were closest to those UFOs. I wanted to keep them because I thought they were UFO sticks now. These sticks have had multiple advanced spacecraft do stuff right beside them multiple times, and over times that scientific data is trapped in the growth rings of these branches. I haven't had anyone take me serious enough to actually help get these sticks to a laboratory somewhere, but I guarantee there's viable scientific data in these sticks, even if the results say nothing. That'll also help prove something because it's proving the tree's extremely close proximity to the UFOs didn't actually affect them. So, guys, what did you think of that story? Comment below. And I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's stream. I know it's a little shorter than I normally do, but I hope you enjoy it. I miss you guys. Please smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and comment. I like reading all your guys' comments. I enjoy seeing comments on the video, so even if it's to say hello, say hello. But I'm gonna end it with Tyranna! Alright, guys, I will see you on the next one, and stay spooky. I go live Saturdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there or be squared and stay spooky. Good night, guys.